Many people haven't seen Fire in the Sky?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it?
It's like 20%.
Well, you know, the main character cast in the movie was Robert Patrick. How many people know who Robert Patrick was?
Oh, come on, the Terminator?
He was the Terminator in Terminator 2, the liquid metal man. And he was the crew boss in our movie. It's time for a new movie. You know? How many people have seen the new movie? Okay, that'll work. I get the same feedback from other actors that I thought were just everyday characters, like the guy who played the sheriff, James Garner. He was the star of the Rockford Files. If you go back even further, he had a show called Maverick. But the guy who played me in the movie was D.B. Sweeney. He played in a movie called The Cutting Edge, an ice skating movie. Peter Berg, he was one of the crewmen. He's now the biggest movie maker in Hollywood. So, like I said, it's time for a new edition of Fire in the Sky. There was one underway, script being created for a rewrite of Fire in the Sky, and the screenwriter had an unexpected departure from this life, but we'll get it done and update the story, add the new information that has come in over the years, and it's something that's continued to grow over the years. Over time, it was very negatively received at the time, and now they got this thing called World UFO Day. The state of Arizona endorsed World UFO Day and mentioned my case. So
Travis,
we've come a long ways from all the negative skepticism to them using my case to launch World UFO Day.
For the dozen or so people in here that have never heard the words Travis Walton before, just tell us what happened the date, the time, like Dragnet.
November 5th, 1975, I was working in the woods with 6 other men, logging forestry contract, and we were headed home. We encountered a UFO. I got out to take a closer look and was struck by a blast of energy and taken aboard. My co-workers were accused of making up a wild story to cover up for a murder, and therefore underwent police lie detector tests. And that, so much to their surprise, settled the issue because they all passed. And there's been an accumulation of a lot of evidence, and it's a very, very complex story. It goes on for years.
But eventually you got off the ship, so tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll move on to Q&A.
When I was approached the UFO, I was hit by a blast of energy. I just felt a numbing shock. My crewmates saw me thrown back through the air, hit the ground like a dead body, and they believed that it had killed me. It was so violent. They all said they were screaming at each other, "He's dead, he's dead," and get us out of here. So they took off. Now in the movie, Mike gets a grip and says, "Look, we got to go back and see if we can help him." In the movie, the crew is afraid to go back, and so they decide. He says, "Well, you can stand here by the road and wait for us, and we'll pick you up when we come back." In real life, when Mike said, "Anybody who doesn't want to come back with us can wait here," nobody volunteered to wait alone in the dark. Everybody went back to see what they could find. There was a 5-day search, huge number of volunteers, tracking dogs. The whole area was gridded off and searched point by point over the whole area. Traces of radiation, magnetism, various scientific research ensued, including traces that were left in the trees growing near where the craft had come down. It had dramatically changed their growth.
And you were returned on a road just outside of Heber.
Yeah. I was rendered unconscious, and when I woke up, I was on the road outside of the town nearest where this happened. Quickly recognized the town, ran down into the town, called my family, and they came and got me. Now, the UFO skeptic says, oh, Travis was never in Heber. No, he was hiding in his mother's cabin somewhere. Well, it just so happens that the operator listened in on the phone call when I called for help and reported to the sheriff. The sheriff sent officers over there. They arrived after my family had recovered me, but they dusted the telephone for fingerprints, and it was definitely established that I made that call from that phone booth. But these are the kinds of things that the skeptics would come up with. Oh, he was never there. Well, of course I was there. The operator knew I was there and reported to the sheriff. All kinds of things, like a skeptic saying, oh, they didn't see a UFO, they saw the planet Jupiter. This was not some little point of light off in the sky. This was a definite metallic object hovering less than 100 feet away.
And you guys as foresters went toward it because you thought there was a fire initially, right? A bright light.
Yeah, well,
not Jupiter.
We had fought forest fire before, we were equipped with the equipment, chainsaws and everything, and then there'd be a fire, they'd come and get us and we'd help them put it out. So, the initial impression seeing the glow coming through the trees was that, well, maybe, what is that? With first we just, no big excitement. We thought, well, maybe that's just some deer hunters camped up here. It was deer hunting season at the time. We've been hearing shots in the distance, but we very quickly came within direct view of the craft, and it was definitely not a fire in the sky. It was this craft hovering near the road.
Hollywood just used that title, Fire in the Sky, for fun.
Yeah, and which is the source of the name of the movie and the book.
Before I move on to the questions I have on the cards, and again, if you see a card nearby and a pencil, write down a question and bring it up, put it in the bowl. There's extras in front of Jennifer.